Hello everybody, welcome to the World Darts Championship preview from MerseySportLive, the Dartscast. I'm Martin Crawford and I'm joined here by Matthew Graham, and we're here to preview the 2025 PDC World Darts Championship. It's been a brilliant year of darts. 2024, the darts game has grown more than ever, and we're going to preview what will hopefully be a nice combination of it and a nice curtain raiser on 2025, which will hopefully be bigger and better than ever. It's been a brilliant year of darts, Matty, so I'm going to ask you right off the bat, what has been your favourite game of darts that you've watched in 2024?
Well, I think it's a bit cliche, but we can all agree the level and the quality was outstanding. It's Luke Littler versus Luke Humphries, the previous final. I believe, honestly, the quality that both of the players showed, especially Luke Littler as a then 16-year-old, it was ridiculous. Being 5-2 down and missing that double two probably turned the game straight into Humphries' hands. Kind of a straight shoot from there, winning it 7-4. But honestly, Luke Littler coming from nowhere and getting to the final and showing that quality, it showed what was to come in 2024.
Yeah, because it felt like all the momentum was with Littler during the tournament, and Humphries, survived by the skin of his teeth a couple of times during that. And then in the final, it felt like there was a bit of a turning point where it went towards Humphries, didn't it?
Yeah, I think he kind of used his game sense, and I believe the games where he did come close to getting knocked out and facing the exit, he used his experience a bit, slowing the throw down and just keeping momentum with himself, and a bit like Golding does, just slowing it down. But Littler, I think maybe the occasion was a little bit too big, missing a double two, which he's hit every other time he's thrown it. I think it was a little bit too much too soon for him, but he's got another chance this year.
Yeah, no, and it felt like 2024 was like the year of Luke Humphries, and then this year was maybe going to be the kind of big one for Littler. And he obviously goes out and, of course, he wins the Premier League, which is no mean feat. By far the youngest player to ever do that, and that kind of took everyone by storm. But apart from that, it's been quite mixed. We've had a pretty varied winner of all the kind of majors. Do you think that the winner of this world, especially if it is Littler or Humphries, they'll kind of be known as the player of 2024, if you like?
Well, that's happened quite a few times when MVG's won the Worlds and he's went on to clean sweep everything. I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is there's so many quality darts players at the moment. MVG's not had the best year, but he's still one of the best darts players around. You've got Luke Humphries, which is outstanding. Luke Littler, he can only get better. But then you've got more of the old heads. Gary Anderson's coming back into his own. He's coming on form right in the perfect time. I hate to say it, I think Peter Wright's past it. But I think the quality of darts has been better than it's ever been. So I think we're not going to get a year where one player clean sweeps for the next couple of years.
Right, so thankfully it won't just be me and Matty that you listen to for this whole podcast, because we managed to get an interview with somebody who is playing at the Worlds, which is very exciting. We've got Gordon Mathers all the way from Brisbane in Australia, and he's going to be playing against Ricky Evans in the first round on night 3, which is an exciting one. I think it's one of the big appeals of the World Championships, just before we went into the interview, about how you get players from all over the world. We get a guy, from I think it's like the Bahamas as well, playing all over the world, and isn't that just one of the big appeals of the Worlds? Because you don't get that every tournament.
No, I think it really shows how worldwide darts is, because you've got your mainstream sports, you've got your football, you've got your rugby, you can say tennis as well, but darts, it's just hit such a big boom. And obviously there's been players coming over from all these countries to play every year, but the amount of eyes we're getting on the sponsorships, it's a massive opportunity for some of these players that play in the smaller countries, that they could win a PDC tour card, and then they could basically do what Luke Littler did, be in the Premier League, be in all these Grand Slams, and win money, which is life-changing for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my chat that I've had earlier with Gordon GG Mathers. Right, nice one. So yeah, just to start, as I said, only 10 sleeps to go now until World Championship. So how much are you looking forward to getting back to Ali Pali?
Yeah, always love playing at Ali Pali. The atmosphere and that's always great. So to get the opportunity again to have another go and try and excel and do better than what I have in the past, I appreciate the opportunity and can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you're coming back. You've been there before. You're coming back more experienced, and you've had the tour card. You've lost it again. So, I mean, how have the last few years been in terms of going back to Australia without the tour card and having to qualify again?
Yeah, it's been good to obviously get back to normal sort of life. Like a lot of people don't sort of realise, they see the glamorous side of darts, but sometimes it's not as glamorous as what it looks, with all the travel and living out of a suitcase. So to get back and actually have a daytime job and obviously back to my family, it's been good. The travel around Australia is good as well. So I really enjoyed the last couple of years.
Yeah. And given that you've been in the UK before, I mean, how much do you feel like this time coming back without a tour card, you're maybe trying to prove yourself, or is it maybe not the case?
No, well, to come back, obviously, when Australians are playing in the World Series in Australia, most of the time we're just happy. We're happy to be in the company of Luke Humphreys, Luke Littler, Gerwin Price. But because I've spent 2 years with these guys playing day in, day out, week in, week out, you sort of feel that you can beat them, and you know that you can beat them. So I'm coming back this time, yeah, a lot more experience, but a lot more thinking that I can win, and not just turning up because you qualified for it.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, could we maybe talk a little bit more about the time that you've had, as I say, in the past, going back to Australia? I mean, you mentioned there about people maybe don't realise the lifestyle that you have and the big changes it is when you come over to the UK. So, do you feel like that had a direct impact on your performance and how you play your darts? Maybe when you are closer to your family and you've got a more kind of settled lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was here. Out of the 2 years I had a tour card, I only had my family here for 6 months, and I felt that 6 months was probably the better 6 months out of the 2 years, because of the fact that when you were going away, darts wasn't the be all and end all. You come home to your family, and that was my biggest thing, was the family side of things. And obviously from Australia, it's just too far to come backwards and forwards. As Hope I has sort of found it this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, obviously back to maybe next week. You're obviously looking to come back another time, and you're looking a lot better. I'm actually you're looking great, mate. I think it's over 50 kilos. I read that you've lost. I mean, that must have made a big difference in your personal life, but also, do you think that's had an impact on your darts as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it might have affected the darts more than what it has, but it's given me more stamina and more energy to play longer days. So it's been like lifestyle change, 50, 60 kilos. I just think, I don't know. I've seen pictures. My daughter was showing me pictures of myself last Christmas, and I don't know how I got that big, but I did. But I would definitely do the same thing I did 9 months ago. I'd do it again tomorrow, because just lifestyle wise, it's chalk and cheese.
Yeah, no, listen, I can't speak highly enough of it. It's not easy, so well done, man. You're looking great. And yeah, obviously, on to next week again. It's obviously an exciting time for darts especially, but it's a busy time for everyone in general. So what does the next few weeks look like for you personally?
Yeah, so at the moment, I'm staying down at Simon's down in Portsmouth. So just on the practice board here, and I'll move up to London actually the start of next week, and staying with the other Aussie guy, Joe Comito, and New Zealand's Ben Robb. So we'll have a setup up there, and we'll just bash each other up and prepare ourselves for the best way we can for our matches.
Yeah, so are you by yourself just now? Yeah. Yeah. And obviously, as for the draw, obviously Ricky Evans is a very interesting one. He's maybe not been on the best form, but he's a fantastic player on his day. So, what did you think of that when you saw it?
Yeah, look, nobody at the World Championships is not there on merit. So it doesn't really matter what game you get. You're going to have a hard game, especially the qualifiers. They've got the Pro Tour players. So I know Ricky, hasn't had the best year, but he's there still on merit. And I do know that like he does play well at Ali Pali because he gets that really good support because he's a really good guy, and he lives up to the crowd, and he'll have his Christmas shirt on. So yeah, no, I can't wait.
Experience you've had as well. Obviously, you're a good player, and you know what it's like to beat good players. I mean, do you go into a tournament like this with a set target of where you want to make it in the tournament, or are you not that kind of player?
Oh, it's the old cliche. It's the one game at a time. So I do know that the next round, if I happen to get the better of Ricky, I do play Chizzy on the 23rd, only purely because I've got a flight booked to go back on the 22nd. So hoping I have to change that to play on the 23rd. So that's purely the only reason why I know who I play or when I play next. But it's the old cliche, and everybody in sport will say it's just one game at a time. So I could get to third, fourth round, and I wouldn't have a clue when I'm playing or who I'm playing. So yeah.
No problem. And just lastly, obviously, darts at the moment in the UK, you might know now that you're here. I mean, it feels like it's bigger than ever at the moment. It feels like it's really thriving, and I guess is that a massive motivation for you to maybe try and get that tour card back next year and get back on the tour? And also, is it something you notice back over in Australia too?
Well, I've got zero interest of getting a tour card. I won't be going to Q school.
You know, no.
No, I've counted that out at the moment. I owe my family the next 4 or 5 years. My youngest daughter's 3rd. So I haven't counted it out down the track in another 4 or 5 years. I'm only 43, and I see Simon and Peter and Gary Anderson that they're all into their 50s. So it's not the end of the world if you have a few years and then come back and have another go. So that's where I'm at. I just have zero interest. I said my lifestyle back in Australia at the moment with family, and obviously all the weight loss, and the cold affects me a lot more now since I've lost the weight as well. I don't have the insulation, but I've got zero interest in getting a tour card in the next 3 or 4 years.
Right, well, that's good to hear, actually, that you're maybe thinking about yourself personally and not maybe letting darts just take full control, because there's more to life than darts, absolutely. And yeah, have you noticed in Australia like a kind of change? Because obviously we call it over here the Littler effect, and how obviously darts was probably growing anyway, but the last couple of years in the UK it's really went massive. Have you noticed a big change? Because obviously you've been part of the kind of dart circuit in Australia for a long time now.
Yeah, we do. We have that World Series effect when the guys come out to that. Look, it could be better in Australia, but the fact of the matter is that it's so far to get to everywhere. It's just hard. It's so hard to travel in Australia and make it sustainable. By the time you pay your airfares, it's $500 or $600, which is £300. Like. And we're only playing every day for like $1,000 or $1,200 as well. So it's not very sustainable, which brings the numbers down. But the quality of darts, I'd say, is probably better at this point in time than it has been. But just the numbers wise is sort of not reflecting that Littler effect, like as you say. But that, like seeing the JDC and stuff, like these kids that are playing now, that I see Jaden Walker played on the Modus influences on Sunday, and incredible 12-year-old, and to do
it's crazy, isn't
it? Doing I wasn't even playing darts when I was 12. So yeah, it's great to see that what they've done, the JDC with the youngsters and stuff coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it's been nice to speak, and obviously exciting time for you. And yeah, listen, I wish you all the best next week.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Yeah, thanks for having me on and having a chat. Appreciate it.
So, just after that interview with Gordon Vaders, we're going into our predictions for the upcoming World Championships. We're going to go through our runners-up, our winners, shock runs, and a shock exit. So we'll start by going with our winner, Martin.
Right, so for me, I'm not going to sit in the fence because I'm going to name someone, but I'm going to go right with the bookie's favourite. I'm going to go for Luke Littler because I just feel like on the law of averages, right, both him and Humphreys will be neck and neck for the most part, and you can say as if there's like something between them, but I just feel like it's just been a case of chance. It's been a case of one-off finishes in big games. I feel like this is the year that Littler kind of breaks through because after his Premier League title, I think that shows very clearly that he's got it in him to win one of the big sort of titles in World Darts. And it's obviously very interesting that him and Humphreys are on the same side of the draw. So that is very crucial because that means that they won't play each other in the final like they did last year. And we can maybe talk later on about who that might open the door for to come into the final after. But I don't know about you, Matty, but I'm fancying it to be Littler's year.
I'm going to go... I've mentioned this name before, and it's not the big two. I'm going to go with Gary Anderson. I feel like he's on an upward trajectory. He's reaching his peak game as he's coming into the World Championships. The game with Luke Littler, won by a late, was brilliant darts. I believe Gary Anderson's really got it in him to get the championship. I believe also it's going to come down to, like you said, who gets knocked out in that side of the draw. I really believe one of those two will get to the final.
Yeah, so in terms of my predictions, you've got your winner. Who's your runner-up?
Luke Littler. I think, obviously, we've talked about his meteoric rise. He's up for Sports Personality of the Year, and that's unheard for a darts player. I honestly think it's going to be too much too soon, like I've said. Like you've been saying, he's winning these big trophies, but only by a couple of legs. He's not fully stamped his style on these tournaments. I just feel like it's too perfect for him to win it, and I really think Gary Anderson can throw up an upset.
He came in it, and I know that he's been dealing with this all year, but this is the first time he's come into a Worlds with expectation, right? So last year he was coming in, and nobody knew who he was, whereas this time he's coming in, and he's the bookie's favourite. That's a mental change from one year to another. Do you think he'll be able to deal with that?
That's playing on my thoughts as well, because at 17 years old, you're very young, and having the expectations of basically a full sport behind you. Sky's marketing is going to be towards Luke Littler. The sponsorships towards Luke Littler. The bookies are all favouring Luke Littler. All he's going to hear is expectations in his ear, and I think that might get to him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's no mean feat if he does, as you're predicting, and I'm predicting as well, that he's going to make 2 finals in a row. That's no mean feat, even if he wins it or if he doesn't. And it's funny, actually, I'm predicting the same finals, Matty. I think Gary will make the final as well. Obviously, as a fellow Scot, he's by far the best Scottish darts player we've ever seen, but it's been amazing to see the kind of run of form he's had. And Matt was speaking earlier about his favourite darts game of the year. I think when Gary Anderson played at the Grand Slam against Luke Littler in the semi-final, it was probably the best game of darts that I watched in 2024. It went right to the wire. Some of the scoring, some of the finishes were just outrageous. It's two players who love a big finish. It would be some World Championship final if that were to happen. It would be kind of 2 generations meeting each other. That would be fantastic. But in terms of a kind of shock run, I think... I know he's third favourite actually with the bookies, Gary Anderson, but it would probably be a bit of a surprise or a bit of a headline if he did make the final, even though maybe the draw is falling for him a little bit. I think maybe it's maybe Mike the Decker's another one to keep an eye out for in terms of like a surprise run.
Yeah.
Who do you think else can maybe make a shock run?
I've got 2 names here, and one of the names goes towards my shock exit as well. So I'll start with the name that doesn't, and I think it's quite ironic. I think everyone loved the man. It's Stephen Bunting. I think he's not had the greatest of years. He has won something, but I just think ramping up to the Worlds, he's been practicing with Luke Humphreys. They've been apparently they've been throwing good darts. I just think he can play off the crowd really well in the Ali Pali. I think he conducts them really well, especially with his walkout song. I feel like he can ride off that high and probably get to the quarters, maybe the semis. And then my second one, we all love him. I think James Wade. I think James Wade will beat Peter Wright. Right, and then I think that comes on to Luke Humphreys, and I think my shock exit is Luke Humphreys.
Really?
I think James Wade will beat Luke Humphreys in that tie, and I don't know. There's just something about me saying that Luke Humphreys, he's had the year of his life. He's the holder. There's just something telling me that the 2 favourites are going to struggle, and maybe that's down to expectation, or maybe that's down to external factors, but I really think a new player or a player that's not been in the headlines too much this year is going to do something maybe like Luke Little did last year.
And it's mental how it feels like yesterday when we were watching, instead of the two Lukes, we were watching the two Michaels in the World Championship, 7-up darts from the gods, the best leg of darts of all time. And now we're talking about them as if they're kind of in the background a little bit. But it's funny actually, because for my kind of shock exit, I'm going to go for Michael Van Gerwen, because it just feels like you never rule him out. But I'm not sure if I've ever seen him be as inconsistent as he has been this year. And it's, as I say, I'm quite hesitant to rule him out. I was maybe considering an early exit for Humphries, but you need to base it off form sometimes. And I think for me, Luke Humphries is, even when he isn't at his best, he's got this unbelievable quality to pull through and win games. Just showed it in the World Championship last year on his way to the final, and he survived a couple of difficult moments in the final against Littler as well, and ended up winning quite comfortably. So I'm probably going to go Michael Van Gerwen for my LA exit.
Yeah, it's been a year where Michael Van Gerwen's not really been in the headlines, apart from when he's saying he can beat Luke Littler. And I feel like, is that a bit of envy? Is he a bit jealous that he's lost the spotlight?
Because usually darts has got a bit of trash talk in there, and I don't mind it, right?
It's all about personality.
Seeing it's a kid you're up against, you need to actually have a little bit of self-awareness where it's like, right, so I'm actually one of the most decorated darts players of my generation, and I'm getting on about this little kid, and I know that Luke Littler isn't just a normal 17-year-old kid, but it's quite funny when it does feel like he can really rattle some of the biggest names in darts.
It's definitely shocked me as well, because Michael Smith's just completely under the radar, and I think he does have a good shout. I don't think he'll win it. I think it'll be too far. I think it's because he changed his darts last year. He struggled with getting used to them. I feel like this year's been a year of adaptation for him. Maybe it's at the perfect time and he's found the sweet spot for the Worlds and he'll go on and win it. But I just have a feeling the two Michaels, as you said, darts are the gods. They've hit really tough form.
Right, so I guess all it's to say now is that it's just a couple of sleeps until the World Championship starts. It starts on Sunday the 15th of December. This is the 32nd World Championship in the PDC. And as well, just a little cool headline as well, there is now a £180,000 bonus for players who get a 9-darter. So do you think we'll see one, Matt?
I think we'll see more than one. I think we'll see a couple.
Yeah, because I don't think it's split either. It used to be like, so it would be 180,000, but then if there was 2 9-darters, then it would go down to 90 each. But I think it's actually like giving out £180,000.
And just to comment on that as well, it really shows how the sport's grown.
Oh, 100%.
And you can also see that with the Sky adverts. Christmas is not just for football, it's for darts as well. And to really hammer on what people have called a pub sport in the past. It's not a pub sport anymore, it's mainstream, and we all love the world. Anything can happen.
It's absolutely right that it feels like darts now is a part of Christmas. So yeah, I hope everybody watching has a Merry Christmas and a very darts-filled Christmas. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Thank you.